I'm like, thank God for another morning, cause every day I wake up, I'm on another journey. You should join me into a city where our pharaohs chosen. The Roman legions use their badges on us, put you in the casket, won't they? As if it matters, cause we kill each other faster, don't we? I know I hurt you feel like ARs when I spit my worldview, but yo, nobody got shot for you got on curfew. Some broken buildings, but that strain that put you out of work too. Don't be Tuskegee, cause these V's don't always do what they say. Rappers think they syphilis when really they just killing our race. I hate to mention our dementia, we forgetting our place. Became the center of disease by where we putting our faith.
Shalom, shalom, everybody. It is your brew. Once again, Bayan Shemayim back with another one. That's me in the profile pic if you didn't know. Today's video is going to be about Ralph Yarl. He was 16 years old, known as a genius musician on the bass and the clarinet. One day he was going to pick up his twin siblings. He went to the wrong address. I believe it was 115 Street. He was supposed to go to 115 Terrace. He was shot twice, once in the head and once in his shoulder. He got up and ran to other neighbors' houses, and it took him 3 neighbors to finally receive assistance. The neighbor who gave him assistance told him to lay down with his hands up until authorities came, until assistance came. The man who shot him was 84 years old, and the guy who shot him said that he was in fear for his life because the boy, the 16-year-old black kid, Ralph Yarl, came to his house looking for his siblings.
At the wrong house and was shot. This happened late last night on 115th Street. That's near Northeast Cookingham and Tracy Avenue. KMBC 9's Jackson Kurtz spoke with people who live in that neighborhood.
An uncommon scene for one Kansas City neighborhood.
My son called me. He said, "Pops, you see the cops out there?" I said, "Cops where?" He said, "All over the place."
Police say a teen was shot around 10 p.m. after showing up at the wrong house. He was told to pick up a sibling on Northeast 115th Terrace, but he went to 115th Street. He's now in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. For neighbors, it all came as a shock.
Just a real nice neighborhood. Kids fine. Play basketball and stuff in the streets.
Many hope violence like that doesn't happen again.
If something do happen, it's a surprise to me around here because it's so quiet.
A 16-year-old was shot by a homeowner after ringing the wrong doorbell. Ralph Yarl was picking up his twin brothers when he mistakenly went to the wrong house. His aunt explained how the teen was shot in the head twice before searching for help.
He ran to 3 houses before one of the neighbors said, "Put your hands up and lay on the ground."
The teen is known as a musical genius and is one of the top bass clarinet players in Missouri. Ralph is currently in hospital where he is now recovering from his injuries. The police released the alleged gunman from custody pending further investigation. The release did not sit well with the public, with civil rights attorney tweeting Ralph is fighting for his life. This man must be arrested. Hundreds of protesters have since turned up outside the alleged gunman's home on Sunday afternoon, demanding immediate justice. Police obtained the firearm that was used, but have explained their delay in bringing charges against the homeowner because they are waiting for the teen to make his own statement.
So the man who shot 16-year-old Ralph Yarl for simply knocking on his front door has now been charged. 84-year-old Andrew Lester has been charged with first-degree assault, as well as armed criminal action. I believe both of those are felonies. An arrest warrant has been issued. Investigators said they absolutely believe there was a racial component to the shooting. But while all that was announced last night, today the Kansas City Defender is stating that Andrew Lester has not been arrested yet and has likely fled the state, with cops allegedly saying they have no idea where he is, where the 84-year-old man is. Oh, and an extra little fun fact about old Lester here. He was a minister for many years who wrote multiple Christian books. A few noteworthy titles: Anger, Your Spiritual Ally, The Angry Christian, and Coping with Your Anger. Considering the fact that he shot a young man for simply ringing his doorbell, I have a feeling he needs to deal with the log in his own eye before he starts talking about anybody else's speck. There's some good news, though. Ralph is out of the hospital. He's recovering at home, and a GoFundMe that was set up for him has raised more than $2.5 million. So hopefully something positive can come out of all of this. But in the meantime, The other day, I mentioned the case of Sinzay Reed. I'm going to repost that video attached to this one because this young man and his family still need justice. October 12th, 5:30 in the afternoon, Columbus, Ohio, apartment complex. Several witnesses see Craig Butler Sr. exit his red pickup truck, draw a firearm, and fire multiple shots at 13-year-old Sinzay Reed, striking him 4 to 5 times, several of those being in his back. Mr. Butler then got back in his vehicle and fled the scene. The next day, police arrested him, charged him with murder. He's being held on $1 million bond. On top of that, he had previously been charged with domestic violence, and under federal law, he's not allowed to be in possession of a firearm. And then 5 days later, prosecutors dropped the charges and removed the bond and released him. And they did all of that without informing the victim's family at all. When the family did find out that happened and they asked why charges had been dropped, the lead detective told them it's because Mr. Butler and his mother gave statements indicating that this was self-defense. So somehow from within his truck, that man felt threatened by that 13-year-old child, exited his truck, and shot him multiple times, some in the back, in self-defense. Now they're still investigating, but of course that young boy's family is confused and wants to know why this has happened. They also said they have no reason to believe Sinzay had a weapon, that he's not known to carry a weapon. So again, how is it self-defense? What kind of a completely fucked system does it take to have this man, who shouldn't have a gun, get out of his truck, fire multiple times, and kill this child? Witnesses say nothing about any return fire, anything, just that he was shot and killed. And then have this guy go, hey, self-defense. And his mother go, yeah, self-defense. And police stand over this child's dead body and say, oh, maybe. Columbus, Ohio. The whole world is watching.
Does this appear racially motivated in any way?
The information that we have now, it does not say that it's racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case.
Are we going to start tolerating if it's a black citizen that you can shoot them and then go home and sleep in your bed at night after the police question you? It is unacceptable.
The shooter is an 80-year-old white man, and that has been confirmed by CNN. Authorities are not releasing that at the moment. That's why a lot of people are pointing to this racial factor of a white man who shoots a teenager, a black teenager here. He was held for less than 2 hours, and then he was released. So he has not been charged yet, and authorities say they need more time. They need more evidence. They need to talk to Ralph before they make a decision on the charges here. There is also this component of the stand your ground law. The law in that state essentially says that you're allowed to use force if a person reasonably believes that they should use that force. So the key word there being reasonable. And so later on, that's what investigators and really prosecutors are going to have to look at to decide whether or not this man is going to be charged. But at the moment, he is free.
Sinzay Reed, he's 13 years old. He was at middle school, like the guy said in the video. He got out of his car, the guy did, a white male, and shot this guy. The guy should have never had a gun because the guy had previous felony. So it was illegal for him to carry his gun, and the thing that he's using is self-defense against a 13-year-old black kid on school grounds. This is crazy, y'all. I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments. Let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it.
All right, y'all. All right, I'm back. I don't know what was going on with my voice before. It was not picking me up correctly, but praise the Most High God, it is picking me up now. So this is just sad all the way around. It's sad for Sinzay Reed, the 13-year-old who was shot outside of his school by a white man. And the white man has not been arrested, nor charges have been brought up. The white man claimed self-defense. And then also for this young man, Ralph Yarl, 16 years old, who was going to pick up his twin siblings, who went to the wrong address and was shot by another white man who said he feared for his life. And what's so sad about this is not only that the parents have to deal with the fact that they have injured children or the loss of children, the parents who help put these children together, but these injuries and the losses that's happening to our people are happening to God's children. Like the Bible said, God had formed the body of the child, the sex and everything inside of the womb of the woman, right? It also says that before God even did that, God had ordained that the children would be created, that the children would be made. So this is a sad case all the way around. And without further ado, we're about to hop into these scriptures and bust a couple scriptures down. All right, let's get it going. So the first scripture we're going to get into is Psalms 127:3. It says, "Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord, and a fruit of the womb is his reward." Right? So this is God's reward. You understand? The children are the heritage of the Lord. So it's so sad because the guy who shot the man, the 16-year-old, the 84-year-old guy who shot the 16-year-old was a pastor. So you going against the womb. So the next scripture that we're going into is Matthew 19, and we're going to start at verse 13. This is Christ talking, Christ in this situation. It says, or Yeshaya, Wamasiach, right? The Messiah. It says, "Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. But Yeshaya said, Suffer the little children and forbid them not to come unto me. For of such is the kingdom of heaven. And he laid his hands on them and departed thence." Right? So the disciples was trying to tell him, like, look, man, get out of here, kids. Right? But Christ was like, look, don't make these little kids get away from me. Let them come here so I can lay my hands on them. So this dude who shot the 16-year-old was a minister. Once again, we bringing that up. And the reason we bringing that up again real quick before we go into this next scripture, we bringing it up because what was he ministering? Who was he talking about? He couldn't have been talking about Christ if his first reaction to a kid knocking on his door was to shoot him in the face. All right, so let's get into this next scripture, right? Jeremiah 1:5, because we discussed this a little bit. It says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." You see, so like I was saying earlier, God had formed these kids in the womb and knew them before he even formed them. Yet he was the one to form these children in the womb. So nobody has the right to try to cut that short. Nobody has the right to try to cut that short. And what's so crazy is both of these kids, from what we hear, were good kids. Okay, so on to the next scripture. We're going into Matthew 18. We're going to start at 1, right? It says, At the same time came the disciples unto Yeshaya, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yeshaya called one of the little children unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one such little children in my name receiveth me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a milestone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. So you got to think about that. This is speaking directly towards what this guy did. He had to offend this young man. Think about what this young man is going through, the trauma he feeling and the trauma he thinking, because he went to somebody's door on accident and got shot. And he'll have to live with that for the rest of his life. Yeah, and he gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life, right? So think about it. What did it say? But whosoever shall offend one of these little ones, which believe in me, it were better for him that a milestone were hanged about his neck, that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. See, this man 84, so we don't even know how much longer the man got to live. But let me tell you, the punishment, the real punishment is going to start after death, right? It says, woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come. But woe to the man by whom the offenses come. You see? It says, wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. It be better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. And if thy eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with 1 eye, rather than having 2 eyes to be cast into hellfire. It says, take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For if I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. And this is a lesson that I'm going to go into in the future time, where it says, take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. See, this is one of the scriptures I use to support the theory that all of us were assigned angels to watch over us. There's other scriptures. We would have to do that on another lesson plan. We most likely are going to have to do a video on that. Let me know in the comments for sure if y'all want to do a video on that. And that is on everybody being assigned an angel, right? And so this is a messed up situation. And it's real messed up for the young man who has to go through this. The Ralph Yarl, the young man, because I know he received a lot of money, and his doctor bill is going to be crazy high. His lawyer bills are going to be crazy high. So most of that money is going to be gone. But I'm hoping that the injuries he received don't impede him from being able to function as a normal person in society, because he was supposed to be a genius in the music, and I hope he could still play music and still do the things he enjoyed to do with the injuries that he received. Thank y'all for tuning in to the video. Without further ado, I want to say, if y'all liked the video or if you didn't like it, drop a like in the like comment for me. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm going to try to fix the audio so it's better next time. Let's hop in the comments and talk about this. This is sad, y'all. What I got on the screen right there is the Hebrew alphabet. Abagada Hawaza Ha, or Abadada Hawaza Ha Lam. I can't read it from this angle, y'all. And it was messing me up. So, without further ado, I'm going to say Thawada, which means thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shalom, which is peaceful greetings. Kaula Haya by Shem Yeshaya, which is all praises to the Most High in the name of his son Yeshaya. And I want to say Barakatah. Bless you all for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all tuning in and watching this video with me. Now I'm gonna go through the alphabet really quick if I can. Abagada Hawazaha Taya Kala Manasa I Ra Kwa Taza Pa Sha Tha.